Hey, this is the video we're making for to show you guys all of the practice questions. So my son Jonah wanted to say hi, and hi. You want to say hi? And then he will leave here, and I will show you guys the rest. Okay, we're going to start with number 1. And all you have to do on number 1 is you have to multiply these. Remember the FOIL method, FOIL. And we say first, outers, inners, last. So we're going to take the first 2 terms and multiply them together. Then we're going to take the last 2 terms and multiply them together. Kind of like distribute, distribute. Okay, so 5x times 2x is 10x squared. And then we go 5x times 1. And we're going to go plus 5x. And then we're going to go down here and we'll go multiply. Hold up. We'll go right here. We're going to go multiply, then multiply here. So we're going to go negative 7 times 2 is a negative 14x. And then we also take negative 7 times 1 and we go negative 7. So what I'm going to do is combine these 2 like terms in the middle and put them together. And so we're going to rewrite it. Final answer, 10x squared. And then we're going to go minus 9x minus 7. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Hopefully we can go through these quickly so that it doesn't take forever here. Number 2, this says find a common factor. That means find the GCF, greatest common factor out of all of these. So that means what is the largest number that we can divide both of these by? We can divide both of these by 7. Okay, we can divide this one by 7. Is that the largest number? It turns out that's the largest number we can divide both of them by. Okay, we can also divide each of these. What do they have in common in terms of their variables? We have p squared and p squared that they both can be divided by because that is what they have in common. We rewrite it over here. And we're going to take 7p squared and we're going to write it in front of the parentheses. Okay, then we're going to say what is negative 7 divided by 7? Turns out to be negative 1. And p squared divided by p squared really can just cross out because it's the same thing divided by the same thing, which turns into 1. Okay, 49 divided by 7. On our next term, we go plus 7. And we go p to the 4th divided by p squared is p squared, right like that. Okay, so that's our final answer. We write it right like that. We ask ourselves, what can be divided out or factored out of both of the terms? Okay, next question, number 3. We're going to take 35 and 50 and 30 and ask ourselves the same thing. What can be factored out? We're going to divide this by, they got a 5 in common, so factor out a 5. Okay, and what about the variables? The largest number of variables that they have in common is just 1p, since this one only has a p involved. So we divide by p, so this is divide by 5p here, and divide by 5p here. And the way we write our answer is we say 5p is going to be factored out of the whole thing. So we're going to divide out a 5p out of each piece. And so we rewrite this. What is 35 divided by 5? Negative 6, 7. Negative 7. And then you got a p squared left over because you got a 3 minus a 1. So 3 minus 1, and you got p squared left over. Then you take 50 divided by 5, and you go plus. Oh my goodness, what is happening? 10p minus 6. P divided by p will cancel out right like that. And so you don't have a variable with this last term. So that's our final answer for number 3 there. All right, number 4. Looks like this. We did this one in class. Remember, you can just take your parentheses right like this. You can also use your box method. If you like to use your box method, you can put an a squared right there. And you can also put a 40 right there. And then you say, well, what times what gives you a squared? A times a gives you a squared. Well, what times what gives you 40? Well, we got 1 times 40. We've got 2 times 20. We've got 3. No. What about 4 times 10? We could, think about all the options. And then we ask ourselves 2 things that multiply to give you that and add to give you that. Okay. So we have an A times A gives you A squared. And then what 2 numbers multiply together to give us 40, and then also add together to give you 14. Well, it looks like 4 and 10 is a good combination. So we go plus 4 plus 10, double check this combination and say, well, 4 times 10 is 40. 4 plus 10 is 14. And it kind of works out up here where if we wrote A plus 4 and A plus 10, the 2 numbers that we would get right here would be 4A, and right here we would get 10A. Well, think about 4 times 10 is this term, and then we always combine our like terms at the end, so the 4 plus 10 should be 14A in the middle. Yep, works out, right? So your final answer is this right here. Okay, next one is number 5. You always ask yourself, can I take out a greatest common factor out of the whole thing? A GCF out of the entire thing? Well, we got 2. You can divide each of these pieces by 2. Now, that doesn't always happen, but in this case it does. So you just got to have an eye out for it. Kind of look and see if that can work for you and take a 2 out of each piece. In this case, we divide by 2. So we're going to write our answer as 2x squared plus 8x plus 15, right? Like that. Okay, then you're going to factor this further. That's not our final answer. Your final answer will look like this with a binomial times a binomial. You know that's the case because this is a quadratic trinomial. Okay, so we're going to write x here and we're going to write x here since it's x times x. Then we're going to go plus 2 numbers that multiply together to give you 15, but also add together to give you 8. Well, think about all of your options. You got 1 times 15, 3 times 5. Yeah, that's about it. So 3 times 5 gives you 15, but you notice the combination here also adds up to 8. So we're going to write plus 3 and we're going to write plus 5. And so your final answer looks just like this with a 2 factored out front. Okay.